Okay, well, very welcome. Thank you for coming. So, my name's Guy, and I'm from England, living here in Prague. And tonight I'd really like to give a presentation on this subject, the art of manifesting the life you love. I would like it to be as interactive as you feel to. So I'll do some presentation, then we can do a few exercises, maybe some conversation between you. So just as a beginning, I'll just say a few words about why I'm here. So mostly I'm a dance teacher and a DJ. That's what I do with my time, most of the time. But it's a transformational dance about waking up our creativity and self-expression. And during the dance, over the 30 years of working, I've discovered lots of principles which I find are really important for our growth and evolution. This is the first time we've been in here. If you're wondering what these noises are, there's a couple of men sword fighting over there. It's a good exercise in focusing and staying present. So I'll just start with a little introduction. What do I mean by conscious creativity? What is this? So the way I see things is that creativity is always happening. Life is movement, and movement is expression. So we can either get involved in this movement and expression, or we can kind of let it happen to us. So we have the distinction between conscious creativity, which is like you're deliberately acting with life, and unconscious creativity, where you feel that life is happening to you somehow. So sometimes this perspective is quite profound, because if we feel that life's happening to us, then we're sort of victim of experience, victim of conditions. So then you find yourself getting worried by the politics and the weather and your partner and the dog and everything. But if you're conscious, you become like a force field of your own experience. So I make a distinction. I call this the inside-out approach. So it's like starts here, spirals out into the world. So right now, it looks like I'm talking to you, but you're listening to me from inside you. So although I'm over here, your experience is over there. And it's always like this. So when people start to say taking responsibility, what they're really referring to is becoming conscious of your own state of awareness. So another way of looking at this is like living with power, from power, or being powerless. This begins with a deep inquiry, who am I? So some of the things that we've been taught we are may not be accurate. So the view I take is that we're a multi-dimensional being. Part of us lives in the sky, in the dream, in spirit, if you like. Another part of us is walking on the earth, on the ground, just experiencing this moment. Some of us is still in the past, experiencing what was. And some of us is already, eating a meal tomorrow morning or out in the future. So although it looks like we're here, we're really in many places. So there's a principle which is the point of power is in presence. And the way you do this is this focus and intention. It would be a difficult thing to do, but just to spend a day becoming aware of where you're thinking. Just start to notice, what are you thinking about? Sometimes we're running a movie through our heads, something that happened or something that might happen. So one of the reasons I love dance is because it really brings you into the body, into the present moment. So if you look at the civilization at the moment, we live inside a screen, we drive another little box, we look at another screen. It's like we live in lots of boxes. So we're forgetting how to move through the body. The body's not moving, not much. So if you think, what happens to us if we don't move, our energy starts to become stagnant. And when we stagnate, then we move into the mind and we start thinking about our life. So instead of feeling, sensing, experiencing, we are thinking and imagining. So what I'm talking about now is all part of the process of becoming more conscious. Some people call it waking up, some people simply just call it coming alive. So I have a question for you in a moment, just like you to consider this, is what is stopping your aliveness? You have dreams, projects, relationships, what stops you from fully engaging and connecting? There was a time in all of our lives where we were a big yes to life. When we were small children, we were just yes, we felt, we did. Then we become big people, then we think and we don't do things. So how can we recover that yes in us? That place inside of us that's spontaneous and responsive and alive? So just maybe anyone would like to share, what do you feel is like an obstacle for you? What blocks you or stops you or inhibits you expressing yourself fully? There's quite a long list. We could carry on for the whole session if you like. I'd rather identify the problem and then move into the solution. So if we look at some of the things you just shared, a lot of these are mental constructions. Like a belief, I'm not good enough, I can't do it, nobody would like me. The inner critic is a record that keeps looping round, keeps repeating itself. You recognize it because it's got nothing new to say. It's not very creative, is it? It's like, you're useless, nobody loves you. Again, keeps going round and round and round. Okay. Then we have the other possibility, that no money, or it's to do with the timing. These are circumstances. So if you imagine you live your life defined by circumstances, then you're always going to be waiting for something. Is there really a right time? Like really? Is there a right time? Like the mind has this idea, there'll be a right time when I've done this and this and this, or when I have this much money or this much space, then I'll do it. Did you want to share anything about obstacles over here? Do you have any issues around your creativity or self-expression?
I think that I also have a fear of success.
Ah, very good. This is interesting. Yeah? It's like the possibility of your own greatness. Okay, so the question I just want to invite you into is, where did you get all these ideas from? Did you really sit there thinking to yourself, how can I criticize myself and come up with so much fear and lack of timing? Did you do that? Or did you start to listen to other people who do that and model yourself from them? So I teach in lots of different countries, and people respond to life very differently around the world. Just an example, I was in Brazil, and in Brazil life is lived on the street. Everything's open. It's very expressive, very dynamic. When I first came to Czech Republic, I didn't think anyone was happy until you start playing music. And then very quickly, you start to see. But there's a moment of like, it's quite hard to read the faces of Czech people. So this is just a very short introduction. Different cultures, different ways of presenting yourself. Sometimes your way of being is a habit. So you habitually blame the money, the weather, the people, circumstances, your feelings. It's like an unconscious habit. So the beauty of this work is you can become conscious. But the first stage is to notice where you're stuck. And then look it in the face and challenge it. Is this how I really want to live? What are the other options? I could choose happiness, I could choose freedom, I could choose self-expression. As I say, there's a place inside all of us that knows how to do this. As young children, before the conditions came, you freely played in the sand, by the sea, you made stuff. So if you think of a young child, they're very much in their body, in their feelings. Yeah? And at a certain age, they start to move into the realm of imagination, they start to dream. And then they dream through their body, so the imagination becomes a movement. Sometimes as adults, we dream when we stay very still. We don't move. So for example, on the dance floor, I get people to dream and feel their dream, dance it, express it. Now what starts to happen when you do this is you start to experience it through your body. Yeah? So your dream becomes alive as a feeling, which is very different to a belief, see? A belief is kind of hovering in the space. So I'm just curious, I'm just saying a few things. How do you feel in terms of the possibility of becoming more conscious and choosing new directions? What would have to happen in your life for you to choose new directions?
You need to make a decision.
Decision, yeah.
Allow myself to feel myself.
Yeah, okay, let's just breathe a minute. Just breathe. Nice strong breath in through the mouth, and just see if you just notice the breath coming into your body. So just give me hands around. Just feel your body. Get the energy moving a bit in your body. And just these very simple things were just expressed, like to make a decision. Just get a sense, what would making a decision feel like in the body? What kind of energy would you like to have as you're making a decision? Just a few words. What would you like to feel in your body? How would I know you're making a decision? So you'd feel stronger?
Oh, yes.
Yes. All right, in the body. That's it. What else would I start to notice?
You notice action, movement.
Yeah. Yeah, some excitement, yeah. It's great, isn't it? See? So this is momentum, see? And just to recognize, you started that party, you started that. So just, like in slow motion, the first stage is you recognize you've been unconscious. Some people, when they recognize they're unconscious, then judge the unconsciousness. Like, I'm a really bad person. And don't do that. So there's forgiveness, letting go, acceptance. These are important qualities. You probably did the best you could with the wisdom that you had at the time. And if you didn't, you can do better next time. So there's something here about acceptance and forgiveness. Now, for a lot of people, this is a big deal. Because human beings like feeling guilty for some reason. Just wonder how much of your time you spend in regret. The way I see it is every new moment is new possibility. It's not like you make one choice, you make a whole series of micro choices all the time. There have to be huge choices, simple choices, what clothes to wear, how to move, how to communicate, simple stuff, but all day through, just choosing. So just become aware. If you're choosing, you're creating. If you're choosing, you're responsible. You're being conscious. You're really holding the life that you have, and you're making it happen. Okay, so there's this strange process in life, which I've noticed, maybe you noticed too. So life seems to mirror us. So if we're feeling miserable, the whole world's miserable. When we start to feel joyful, we start to notice joy. If we're angry, we end up hanging out with angry people. So if you don't know about mirroring, you start to believe what's in the mirror as being real, without recognizing that you're participating in that creation. I mean, you can do a very simple experiment. Today, tomorrow, forever. You could start inside yourself feeling an inner smile. You can practice now if you like. Start to feel like an inner smile. And take a nice big breath, let your body move a little bit. Just start to feel this smile moving through all the cells in your body. Start to recognize every breath is like the sunshine, lighting your body up from the inside. When you start to feel this smile in your cheeks and behind the eyes, you start to feel everywhere inside your system is a smile. And every breath, you just give more and more permission to this. That it's okay to feel happy, it's okay to smile in life. And then gently open your eyes, keeping this awareness of the smile. Keep aware. Start the mirror. And breathe into it. So you're producing it. So keep producing it. Like smiling. Like feel that you're producing the energy. You're producing it from inside. And then if you do this for a while, you actually feel the energy, you feel the breath, you're not making it up, you're not faking it, you're feeling it. A lot of people say fake it to make it. I would disagree. Feel it. Feel it. If your body's moving and you're breathing, you can generate anything. If you don't move and don't breathe, don't expect so much, okay? It's kind of called death. Hey, just imagine this, okay? Just invite you to entertain the possibility that life is mirroring us. If this is true, okay? So let's imagine you've got self-criticism, or you're always late, or nobody loves you. That's running. Then you keep attracting partners that tell you that stuff. It's almost like you're calling it. It's like a stage, action, scene one, tell me you don't love me. Because we don't recognize that unconsciously we're expecting it. See, now the unconscious expectation is a creative action. Now, if that can work unconsciously, it can also work consciously. So you start to expect to feel good. You start to expect to feel love. You expect creation and beauty. Expect these things. Then what you're doing is you're not floating in the sky. You're generating the power of this in your own experience. So the important point here is to breathe and to move and to shake and play some music and get into the feeling of it. Okay, so it was Gandhi who said, be the peace that you want to see in the world. Feel it, sense it, vibrate it. So for me, I talked about the golden keys of creativity. This is a really important one. Dream through the body. So if you have a dream, a wish, a vision, start to feel it as if it's right now, here and now. I dreamt this moment a few times before coming here. And the first 4 or 5 times I was quite nervous. So I decided to change the movie and start to feel quite happy. So I consciously anticipated what it could feel like to be happy sitting here with you. And not just that, I started to imagine that you'd be interested. And that you'd also be happy and enthusiastic. I started to imagine and create a whole field of energy. So I'm very used to doing this, okay? And what I call this is future backwards. Okay? So I'll do a DJ set, and I imagine what it's like at the end, at the beginning. How did the music go? How did the people connect? You know, what energy was in space? Because I'm working with the principle that life is mirroring my creativity. So I'm generating what I want to see in the world, instead of waiting for it to happen. The funny thing is, if you're waiting for it to happen, life is waiting for it to happen. That's why if you don't believe in yourself, life doesn't believe in you. It's not that life doesn't believe in you, it's just the mirror is reflecting your own consciousness. I invite you to reflect on this, because this is a huge principle. But until you see it, you keep feeling that life's doing this to me. I mean, I could tell you lots of stories to prove that this is the way it works. Since I've been, I'll just tell you a couple, but since I've been 19, I've been creating events like this my whole life. I didn't wait for someone to give me permission, I just decided to do it and did it. When I first started at university, I'll just tell this one story. So I've always had vivid dreams, I often have very lucid dreams. And I received one of these dreams very, very clearly to start this society at the university. And during the dream, I got the whole plan, the whole action plan, the whole vision, the whole feeling. It was a complete thing. So I didn't hesitate, woke up, got dressed, went straight to the student union, and I said, I want to start this society. Can I do this? 9 o'clock in the morning, I've just woken up. Can I start this? They said, yeah, fantastic, we'll give you £500. What I want you to do is on Sunday, you present this to the university, because we have a club where people decide these different things. So I trusted and I acted. I didn't doubt it at all, I just took action. And the university acted with me. So for the next 2 years at university, they paid me money every month to get the best speakers and meditators and healers to come and talk once a week at the university. At the time I called it Logos Human Potential Society. That's what it was called. So Logos means truth. Yeah.
A logo znamená pravda.
I would literally read a book, phone up the author, and the author would come and speak at the university. Anyway, I was very pleased with this. Okay? And so I then proceeded to create another 6 groups at university. I didn't really study much of my subject, but I was running lots of groups. Because I started to feel it was possible. That's what you shared. You said to have the feeling it's possible. Like you want to run a 10-mile charity run, and you've never run before, but you make 1 mile, then the next week 2 miles, 3, 4, you can run 10 miles. So possibility, right, is hugely important, okay? To live in the possible. There's 2 principles, live in the possible or the predictable. Your unconscious predicts you can't do it. And then you believe you can't do it, then you tell a story you can't do it, and then everyone reflects you can't do it. And then you come down this negative spiral, I can't do it. All of that is a belief, all of that. And you have this incredible intelligence where you can create and generate possibility. So just for a moment, how does anyone feel about what I'm saying? How do you feel about this? Can you connect with it? Is it interesting enough to take some spontaneous action? So listen, I'm just going to give you a couple of minutes. You can just turn to your neighbor. And I just want you to just allow yourself to be a bit creative with this. What would I do if I lived in the world of possibility? It doesn't have to have loads of details. It could be a feeling. It could be a vision. It could be something. What would life be like if I lived in possibility? Does anyone want to give any feedback, just briefly? What did you discover in your little conversation? Or what does it feel like to live with some possibility, or even just to communicate about it?
I think it feels really free, empowering, relaxing also.
How does your body feel when you start to speak like this? What starts to happen in your system as you communicate from possibility? And do you start to even believe your story? Is it happening? Or are you saying something possible, then you'll think, nah, or yes? How is it for you?
I think I had this idea, it's going to be at that point sometime in the future again. I was thinking about it, but I didn't feel it at the moment. I was I was not seeing my head is wired in a certain way. It seems like it's...
Okay, what I'd like to do is just to give a brief synopsis of some of the things we've shared already. Okay, so one of the most important things to begin with is to become conscious, to become aware. And this can start for any number of reasons, for different people, different ways. Some people read a good book, they get inspired, they want to take a new path in life. Some people go through traumatic events and it kind of wakes them up to think there must be more to life than this. Other people just get really bored of their own sadness and decide to do something different. If you start to ask people, how did you become more conscious? How did you wake up? You'll hear different stories from everybody. But the good news is that people can wake up. It's possible. Human beings can do that. So just to give these 3 developmental stages, I'm sure you recognize these. So the first stage as a baby is dependency. We're supposed to be dependent on another. So the second stage sometimes begins when you're 2, sometimes when you're a teenager, and everything in between is about independence. You start to discover yourself as an I. Physiologically, when you're crawling, and then you stand up, you stand into the I am position. And this is the birth of will, human will. So will is at the basis of choice. What makes you independent if you've made some independent choices? That's what independence is. And then the third stage is interdependence. Okay, it's not codependence.
Interdependence.
It's you're 2 independent people freely connecting. Now these are 3 very normal and natural human developmental stages. But you might start to notice there's some big people who are still in the first stage. And this is called codependence as adults. Rely on your partner, your parents, the government, God. You rely on something else to support you. Now you have the other side of this. Independence as adults is rebellion. Some people call this narcissism or selfishness. You just do what you want. So it's in most intense volume, if you like, you don't relate to others. It's all about me, my way, my expression. This thing. In a balanced way, it's the health of your genius, your natural creativity. So it's also checking in with ourselves in terms of these 3 different stages. Have we moved through these? Are we moving through these stages? So the way that interdependence looks, or this 2 individuals co-creating, so I don't need you, I love to be with you, I choose to be with you. So some people get into relationships because they're afraid of being alone in their independence. But if you feel all one, then you can be all one together. You co-create a bigger energy. So the child stage is one version of freedom. You get fed, you get cared for, you don't have to be responsible. And then some people grow up with this idea, that's what freedom is. Freedom is having everything you want, being given everything, doing nothing. That's freedom to a baby at the baby stage. There's another version of freedom which is called conscious creation. Like you live on purpose. The will is connected to the heart. You see? So you move with your personal passion and beauty, love, nourishment. And it's relational. It's connected to others. So in my eyes, this is the natural maturity process of the human being. So you might want to ask yourself, what is freedom for you? It's this interesting, this thing, you're afraid of your own greatness, perhaps. If you look at the story in Czech Republic, communism, it's dangerous to be creative. So you play the poker face as a self-preservation. And then years later, we're not in communism, freedom politically, apparently. And there's more space in life, but we still carry a traditional story. But when you can really release the story from the past, then you find more freedom in the present. I want to give you some good news. I've worked with thousands of people over the last 30 years. And it's possible to be free and happy and creative. And it's not really that difficult. And it's not like you have to be some great spiritual master. It's quite an ordinary human event to be creative and happy and joyful. But if you keep surrounding yourself with people who don't believe anything, who keep pulling you down, then the mirroring process continues. Now some people misunderstand this and they go and leave all their friends. You can transform together. I've been through many relationships where there's a death process and then it comes alive again. And maybe all it takes is to start a new conversation like this. So just imagine for a moment, you come to this earth, okay? Which we did. Here we are. But imagine you came from this amazing spiritual place, just to entertain the possibility that you're really a spiritual being. And you're a time traveler, you're passing through this earth experience. But who you really are belongs to infinity. So we choose voluntarily to come to this time-space reality, 50, 100, 150 years, to have a human experience. Now, do you think, as a soul, you'd choose to have, I'm going to have a miserable experience? Or did we come here with all of our brightness and we start to recognize that everyone else has forgotten their own brightness? And gradually we lose contact with our spiritual or heart beingness and we become more and more human, more and more conditioned. Now, the child in us comes here quite light and bright. Okay? And the child is still alive inside of you. Your heart is still here right now. But we believe the beliefs. That's the only thing. That's the only thing. We're believing the belief that we're not that. So here's a principle for you, if you'd like to write it down or just take it home. Our behavior comes from our beliefs. Or you can say another way, our actions come from our attitude. So if you're going to have limiting beliefs, you're going to have limiting behavior. If you're going to have nobody loves me, awareness, then you have nobody loves me actions. So here's another principle. For me, this is a really good one, important one. Is whatever you focus on, you energize. So where you pay attention, that's where your experience grows. So if you start with a little seed of joy, you can turn that to happiness, you can turn that into beauty, bliss, ecstatic nature. You can grow it. And you start to do that because you start to realize, I am a creator. I can generate. I can make this happen. So I'll just give you an example. On the dance floor, so we do a 2-3 minute expressive movement. So at the end of that, I invite people to close their eyes and to notice what they're feeling in their body, right? And then to breathe into it, and then to expand it. And then breathe in a bit more, and then expand it a bit more. So imagine you've just done a vital dance, you're feeling powerful in your body, yeah? And you become aware, I'm feeling powerful in my body. So you breathe into it, and you can expand that power just by breathing into it. And then why stop there? Why not breathe in again? Keep expanding. Then imagine every cell of your body is full of power. The energy around you is full of power. Your mind's full of power. The way you see is full of power. So you can take a small experience and then grow it. You've seen a fire, yeah? You put some twigs on, you blow it, and it becomes a bigger fire. You can do that when you give yourself permission and you believe it's possible and desirable. Okay, so just give you a very quick example. So I used to believe that I was abandoned in life. That was my story. So it wasn't a huge surprise to me when many girlfriends just left. To the point where I'd meet someone, and within a few seconds of meeting, I'd be thinking, when's she going to leave? It's not very attractive, really, is it? It's like, I'm expecting you to leave. Nice to meet you, goodbye. And then sometimes I'd even speed that process up, and I wouldn't even go to meet the person. And I'd leave before I even met them. I can laugh about it now, but it really wasn't very funny at the time. Because I started then to believe nobody loves me, nobody likes me, nothing's ever going to happen. It's never going to work. And this happened so many times that I started to get bored of it. And in my boredom of this, I started to realize perhaps there's another choice. And I realized something really important. I realized they weren't leaving me. I was leaving me. And in that moment it changed. I stopped abandoning myself. Maybe it's a little bit hard to hear this, but I want to say it anyway. And maybe in some way you've abandoned your heart. So you came here as a bright being. You came here to earth to enjoy and celebrate and create. Then you let the world get to you. I'm not judging you. We all do this. But if you start to get in touch again with that inner fire and start to meditate a bit, start to become awake inside yourself, you start to regain the energy again to express. I mean, I've got loads of pages here, and I've only really read the first line. Right, there's more. But the most important thing I want to transmit to you is that when you connect more fully to your heart, everything flows. So the biggest possibility is not more money, sex, and power. It's like more of myself, more of my heart. If you wake up tomorrow, I choose to be me, not to believe in the nonsense of the mind. I invite you not to believe your thoughts. Someone once told me, a musician, it's just noise. It's just noise. And once you start to relate to it as noise, not as significant, meaningful, then you start to release your attachment to it. Okay, so I'd just like to hear a little bit of feedback from you, and then we can have a little pause, and then we come back into this. What is this conversation stirring up in you? So, what are you actually hearing? What are you allowing yourself to hear in this? And how does it make you feel? There's lots of questions there.
I'm hearing that I have more control over my reality than I think. And I'm aware of my resistance, and I'm aware of techniques that all I need to do is get started. And that's what creates motivation and momentum. All I need to do is get started, and that's what creates momentum and motivation.
In some of these micro daily choices, I feel that I have micro abandoned myself, and then there's no way back.
Yeah, there's a way back.
There's a way forward.
There's a way forward. That's right. Anything over here? Do you want to share anything?
What I'm hearing, it feels like something I totally know. And it's just so nice and confirming to hear. And I just feel like some kind of shell is around me. It's just waiting for nothing, basically. And it's totally ready to leave. It's just like not happening, and
I feel it inside of me. Yeah, I was just talking to a friend today and I said, we both were saying we feel like spinning in a spiral and just not being able to move, just being stuck. And a lot of people are experiencing this these days. And at the same time, it feels comfortable in a way that it's like you want to get out of it, but at the same time you don't want to. It's like this battle.
Yeah, I mean, familiarity creates an illusion of safety. But when you start to study it, you realize you're not really alive. A lot of people long for safety. For me, safety is important for the child in us, the dependency needs. That's important. But it's just as important to learn about risk. You don't want to feel safe the whole time. You never move. You never grow. The great adventure of going out of your front door requires a risk. I've come to some acceptance. The world is not a safe place. We don't need to look very far to realize that these days. If I'm waiting for safety before I start living my life, I'm going to wait a very long time. So I make a different choice. I'm going to risk it and generate it and create for myself. So I'll just give you one example. So I'm a creator of something called the Dancing Heart Path. It's a 2.5-year school journey. In that journey, we look at our childhood wounding, we look at our adolescence, we look at our self-relationship, we look at relationship with other. Then we start to look at purpose and creativity and self-expression. And all these things are in a natural sequence. So a few months ago, we went through the creativity part of the curriculum. So this last weekend, we had an event called the Urban Oasis in Prague. I shared a vision. It'd be lovely to have a place of nourishment for the community, for Prague, for the Czech Republic. And then put in the question, what can we offer? What do we have to give? And pretty much everyone in the school stepped forward and offered a gift. Massage, talks, dance, good food, painting. There were so many gifts offered. Now everybody in that circle believed we could do it. And we were all sharing this common vision to nourish each other, to nourish the community. So there was no resistance in the space. There was no judgment, there's no fear, there's no doubt. Because the vision was clear, and the energy was strong, and the connection was very real. So we just went through it. It was a very joyful experience. It was beautiful. And we manifested it together from nothing. It wasn't there on Friday. We're going to create more of these little oases, nomadic oases. We're going to just move around Czech Republic. I'm just sharing it with this you, because when you start to collaborate with other people, with vision, energy, and possibility, magic happens. I told you, I started as a student when I was 21 like this, and I've been doing it ever since. I woke up 2 months ago and thought I'd like to do some public speaking. Here we are. But I want you to start to tune into is what are the things that you'd like to be manifesting? Where are your strengths and your gifts? Where is your desire? Where is your dreaming? I'd just like to start, just to give you a few of the sort of foundational principles again. So a principle for me is like a key in a door. Like it opens up a whole door of possibilities and ways of seeing and living in the world. So for me, the most important one, the foundation, is where you focus, how you place your focus. So the sentence goes, where you place your focus, your energy goes, and where your energy goes, your experience happens. Now, your focus literally animates the life that you're living. So hopefully this inspires you a little bit about how important it is to pay attention. So in quantum physics, they talk about the observer affects the observed. It's the same principle. Like a child, just simply observing the child, like with love and attention, kind of helps them bring them to life even more. But again, we get into habits of not really looking at each other and seeing and amplifying each other. We can look in a different way. So I also work with another principle, is that from inspiration to motivation. Now, if you think about this, a lot of the motivational speakers, they start from motivation. So to be motivated, you've got to be pumped up. It's quite masculine, it's quite willful, it's a bit aggressive in a way. It's like, I'm going to do it. Yeah. So this is the energy of motivation is will-based. It starts from the will. So we've all got willpower, but imagine that you had to constantly sustain your willpower to do your actions. So it would be very tiring. Yeah? Now, inspiration is effortless. Yeah? So when you're inspired, you're connected already. So if you keep tuning into the inspiration naturally feeds the motivation. And it turns out the volume when it's necessary. It's like it's time to act. That's called inspired action. Ordinary language, we call that seizing the moment or taking an opportunity. Now, a lot of people call this intuition as well. Having a good feel for things. So without judging yourself, I'm sure you felt many things but not acted on it. So many girlfriends and boyfriends have walked past you on the street and you didn't respond. Job opportunities floated past you, you didn't notice. When you start to listen more carefully on the inside, you start to feel these inner signals. There's another very basic principle. It's like learning to respond, not to react. So to respond, we have to feel. We have to feel in the present moment. Yeah? So responsiveness requires connection, relationship. A reaction doesn't require much. It's just an opinion. You believe something and then you're kind of pushing that out into the world. So the more you get to know yourself, the more responsive you become in the present moment. Again, one of the reasons why I love dance is because you can't dance by thinking about it. You have to respond. If you dance like this long enough, it spills out into your daily life. You start to respond like this in all other situations.
Okay.
I've said this, but I'll say it again because it's so important. When you're having a vision, is to really feel it in your body. So maybe practice privately at home in front of a mirror. It's like, yes, feel it, breathe it, like really get excited about it in your body. In Native American tradition, they call people vision carriers. Like they're carrying a vision. But you could be carrying the vision of joy for humanity. It's like you can carry beautiful visions in your life. Like Steve Jobs, for example, carrying the vision of Apple, computers, but more than that. So people start to relate to him through the vision. I mean, you think about some of these legendary figures, Martin Luther King's, Gandhi's, you relate to them as a vision carrier. So in a big or small way, all of us are vision carriers. So consider the options, okay? You can relate to yourself as a whole bundle of beliefs, okay? That's one option. Stories, ideas, thoughts about yourself. Or you can wake up tomorrow and start relating to yourself as a living vision. I often wake up as a vision of dance or music. That's how I wake up, not as Guy, but as a vision of what it is I love. I can tell you, it's very different. Wake up in what you love as opposed to what you can't do or can't be. It's a very different experience. So what makes a vision grow is sharing it with others. Imagine just meeting the friends that you already know. Instead of meeting with all your problems, start meeting in terms of your vision, your energy, your possibilities. Like this man talked about getting back on track. It's like, for me, the biggest track to get back on is the track of the heart. Some people live for having more things, living to get, to have, someday, one day consciousness. There's nothing wrong with things, but why not be alive within the journey of having those things? I mean, you've probably seen some of the interviews of people on their deathbed. They don't talk about the things they have. They talk about the experiences they have, the love they felt. Sometimes we get caught up in the chase of Western materialism and think it's all about having the stuff. Instead of really being myself, really being present in this moment, in all moments. So I'm curious and interested. What are you up to in your lives? Where is your vision? Where is your interest? If you're a seed planting into fertile soil, what are you growing into? Anybody want to share? What are some seeds that you're up to? Yeah.
So I'm building a small team of developers. Do some software that will help with Python.
I have a small personal thing going on. I just moved with my boyfriend, and right now I am trying to create a beautiful place for us. I'm putting plants at home, putting cushions around, and I feel like I want to make a nice coffee for us.
Lovely.
Yeah. I'm investing and sharing the creative financial abundance and freedoms in a decentralized world. So doing venture capital investing and looking, also creating a vision for myself in a place where people can meet and share and cooperate and express their talents and skills.
Well, and as I said, I've been feeling really stuck, going in circles and spending a lot of time meditating and trying to find the freedom. And, so I haven't really been putting much energy into coming out into the world with my art, although I have a big collection because I use the meditation to actually acquire these photographs. So my vision is to use them in the future as a means of helping people to get in touch with themselves, with their deep true self, through the art that I could provide. So
Thank you.
I have quite a new, it's 2 years, so let's say new project. I've been upcycling clothing, and I was on the design market on weekend, and there I saw the potential, what this creative deeds or what this creative activity which I have has. So I saw the reactions of the people. How did they react on the clothing which they saw? What did they say about it? I saw possibilities that I could go to other design market, which I did not know before. So, I made a step. At the beginning, I was sewing at home and sharing it with friends, and then I made a step to go to design market, where in the morning, and my legs were shaking and the knees were shaking. I thought, no, I cannot do it. I cannot carry this. It's too much. It's too much. And then I just let it go. I said, hey, world, are you there? Okay, good. Then you're going to help me. And then all the shaking like flew away. And it was really nice experience. And I got also these impulses from the event, which could bring me further. So this is the seed which I planted 2 years ago. And now slowly it's growing.
It's great. I'll just share briefly. Some seed that I'm planting tonight, here and now, is this public speaking, offering this kind of teaching through words. I've met a lot of people on the dance floor, beautiful people, and I feel there's a whole load of people who are not dancers who would also like to receive this kind of communication. So it's an exciting project for me to translate all these things that I know and feel and put them in a language that people can relate to. And on the back of this, I want to make some courses, online courses, and write some books as well. I'm feeling that. Okay. So thank you for sharing all these. And I just invite us all just to look at them as well through these eyes. I'm about to say something. Okay. So very naturally, we describe the thing that we're up to. Climate change software, cozy nest, financial freedom, upcycling, books, talks, photography, exhibitions. Okay. So I invite you to ask yourself this question: what is your why? Why? So this is what you're doing. This is the action, the activity, the form. What is your purpose? What is the driving energy? What is the inspirational force alive inside of this? So another way of looking at this is to ask this question: what does this give me? Or what does it give others? What does it contribute to the world? What is the feeling of this, the quality of this? So I'll just give you an example. So what I'm doing is public speaking. I'm speaking in public. We always speak in public. That's what speaking is, isn't it? We speak out loud. I speak in public. In my mind, I made up this kind of fear story, public speaking, but then I realized it's just speaking. Okay, so my why, I have a wish to transmit something I realize on the inside, outside, so it goes to your inside. Wow. I have a belief, a feeling, and knowing sometimes that's possible, which for me is pretty amazing, that I can somehow touch you on the inside just through words. So one why is it touches people. That's one thing. There's another curiosity, why does it touch people? For me, when something is real, or it speaks to a truth inside of you, then it wakes something up in us. So I'm attempting to communicate a vibration, something which is almost invisible, and touch you with that, so it vibrates inside of you. So at one level, it's a human experiment in in-depth communication. What it gives me, personally, it gives me an opportunity to speak my truth, to speak the truth that we can live by that lifts us up. So I prefer to live in a world where people are inspired, awake, conscious, gifted. But what does that give me? The possibility to be honest. So I'm just using this as an example. Right? On the outside is the thing. Yeah? On the inside is the feeling, the quality, the energy, the purpose. Now sometimes, like on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm not doing public speaking, so I'm not doing the thing. But I can still water the soil by tuning into the quality, the vibration, the energy. I can still live in the vision of beingness. And that's what I mean by being a vision carrier. See, your project might be 10 years down the line, but you can still live it alive in this present moment. If your project was just a thing, when you finish speaking, it's like it's over. So my invitation for you is do the inward spiral and start to really explore the question, what is my why? What does it give me? What is the quality that wakes up? So let's have a little experiment. So if I can ask you, so your climate change software project, what is the driving force underneath?
Number one is creates value for the whole team. And so it gives me a chance to do more of that for the future generations.
Okay. How does that make you feel? Because that's the vision, okay? What is the feeling underneath the vision?
So the feeling is I have a dream and I feel belonging to like-minded people.
Great. And deeper still, what's it like for you when you have that and you belong to like-minded people? What does that open up for you? If you keep breathing into it, what does that give you? It's like, so this is the action, is the software, the actual, there it is. Yeah? It creates value, it builds teams for future generations. Yeah, but underneath it, what is really...
It's kind of like a satisfaction, openness.
So just imagine now that you can live with those qualities of satisfaction, openness, contentment right now, even when you're not building the software program. So you've become the energy of that particular form, you see? Because that energy is where life is happening, isn't it? And life's actually happening in this moment, right now. Okay, Great. So let's go. What's happening in your comfy corners at the house? What is going on for you?
Well, I'm doing what makes me happy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm giving my attention to the plants because I love the plants. I'm like growing something that I know will give the energy back to me. Like, I'm investing and it's growing.
What does it feel like to be in a space where that energy is happening?
I feel like I want to be there.
Yeah, I can really see it very clearly. I see cozy corners and plants. I feel very relaxed there. So if you were to speak now about your projects just in terms of qualities, not plants or cushions, just talk about some qualities. What is it giving you or human beings to be in that kind of environment?
It gives the comfort.
And what happens when you're comfortable?
I feel like I can relax.
And as you're relaxing, what starts to open up for you?
Everything.
Everything, yeah. You're available for life, aren't you? So if you're tense, you've got all this armor, you're defended. But if you know, relaxation, people think it's a waste of time at one level, because you're not doing anything, but you're preparing the field so everything can happen. Yeah. So I just want to just start getting into this mindset, or the way you're viewing this. The thing is beautiful, you know, and we're all doing different things. But the universal qualities, the human qualities, you know, like value, nourishment, relaxation, you know, rest, openness. These are universal values that we can all connect to. So Casey, in your world, your view, what is financial freedom? You know, this autonomous way of living. What does that create as a quality for you?
Well, it's helping people realize that it's easier than breaking down some conditioning.
And how does life look when people are doing what they want? They're more easy with money. They're expressing themselves more freely. So what kind of world does that create for you and others?
I think they can relax. They don't feel so attached to the system, and it gives me some joy also.
So does it also give you a sense of freedom then? Like, do you feel more free in yourself?
Yeah, I feel more free. I also feel more responsible. I don't feel like victimized.
So money is a huge area of conditioning. We're caught dependent on the state, upon this. And actually, when you find it's possible to be free financially, it frees up a whole dimension of possibility.
What was in the end?
Freedom. Again, money is neutral. Money is nothing. It's just a word. It's not even a thing anymore. So the issue isn't money. It's how what we think about money. What we've been trained to think about money. You've got to work hard. You've got to suffer. You've got to be a slave. You know, all sorts of conditioning around what money is or isn't. I once did a workshop where someone invited me to see money as a lover, as a friend, and see how you're treating them. It was quite an abusive relationship. By personifying the energy or the belief system, it really helped me heal that. You know, I could see how much conditioning I was putting on top of this neutral thing. So let's just talk about money, but this is relevant for all things. That things are things, and then we add meaning to it. And those meanings are beliefs, and we behave out of beliefs. So it really impacts our behavior. But if you change the approach just even slightly from conditioning to freedom, suddenly it changes the whole behavior. And personally, I don't want to live as a slave of the system for the next 20, 30, 50 years. I'd rather be more free, more abundant, more expressive. But to start that process, I've got to believe it's possible at the beginning. And I've got to train myself to look at all the times where I believe it's not possible and start to do some release work. And then take action, take inspired action. Start to live according to your vision, not according to the conditioning. So I'm sharing with you that what's underneath the thing is the very energy that gives you the passion to do it. Because a lot of people have got great projects and great dreams, but they haven't got the energy to deliver it because they're not in touch with the quality it gives them. With photography, what is the essence of this for you? The quality. What does it give you and others?
Well, it fills me up with this joy that I can share love through the photographs. Because if you put the heart into it, then it communicates with the hearts of other people. Because we share one heart, so and therefore it spreads more love into the world.
So if the eyes are the windows of the soul, then your camera is the window to your soul. So when I look at your pictures, I'm really looking at your soul speaking out through the images. And if I look carefully enough, I'll start to see what you're seeing. And you already shared that, like before you take the photographs, you go into some kind of meditation, like you deepen into yourself. And this is what I'm referring to, about where do you start from before you take the action. You're starting from the quality. So like before you place your plants and cushions, you're there like, I'm the goddess of nourishment and relaxation. And there's my purple cushion. I don't know how it feels for you, but when I start communicating at this level, I get really excited. You know, I feel really alive, knowing the insides of the vision. So how did we get into this mess? Because we disconnected from the body. Yeah, we're increasingly living in a more abstract world, detached from the physical experience. And one of the ways back to the body is feeling the value, feel the quality, feel the sensation, the aliveness of it here and now. So I want you to get really excited about being a vision carrier and you're doing this particular action. And also, don't be limited by the action. I'm a vision carrier, and sometimes I'm DJing, dancing, writing, parenting. It's the same energy, gets translated through different forms. Do you want to share in a couple of words? If you're upcycling, what does it give you as a feeling?
I would say it from the other way around. I do not do any sewing when I'm not happy. So if I feel like I'm sewing because I have to have amount, then I stop immediately and go to the garden. And I believe that this, my attitude, will be imprinted in the clothing.
Wonderful. This is amazing. That the more sensitive we become, the more we start to feel the feelings inside the action. I once went to this really expensive, beautiful restaurant, and the cook came out and shared with us why she made the food before she served it. When I was eating the food, I felt like I was tasting her vision. Like her essence was flavoring the food. I know this on the dance floor too. Two people could play the same set of music and it would feel different, depending on who's playing it. Because we're also sensitive, not just to the action, but to the feeling and intentions. We are sensitive to this. So when you know this, you really want to pour your heart into what you do. You know, really pour your love into it, because that's also going to be felt in the space. So I'm aware of the time, so I just want to give like a little summary, and we're going to close shortly. Wow. Yeah, well, the summary is be yourself. Because the deeper you connect to yourself, the more you know what you want and what you desire in life. And just recognize yourself is not limited by your beliefs. You know, I think we've covered that quite early on. Like, you're a multi-dimensional being with your head in the stars and your feet on the ground and everything in between. Now, if that's true, we also need multi-dimensional nourishment. So it's like you might want to meditate for the soul and take action for the ground as well. So when you start to take care of all the different levels, all the different dimensions, then you start to flourish. So when you're flourishing, your body's full of energy. Your whole system is full of energy. And then you're in the optimum state for creativity. So taking time for nourishment, relaxation, softness increases your capacity for vision, openness, inspiration. Okay, I think we're going to finish here. Thank you very much for coming. Yeah, it's been really lovely to share this with you and also have you receive this, listen to this. I'm going to be doing one of these probably once a month. I really have just covered 3 lines here. I've got a lot more to say on this. And I've got a whole series. This is a part of the Conscious Living series. So this is just a little taste of the creativity. But I'm really grateful for being here. I really actually wanted to be in this space, just to get a sense of it. So thank you to this space. Yeah. And thank you to Casey, cameraman. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.